right, we're all in now. We're live. Sorry, guys.
Wonderful.
Welcome to the Shooting Star Press, where we cover
Uh,
Impact and AEW. Sometimes New Japan when they have a big show. Ring of Honor. I don't. No, I'm probably not gonna watch Ring of Honor. Let's not say that. I'm not. But yeah, I am the Gorekeeper, Brandon. Here's my Twitter handle, YT Gorekeeper. You can follow me there. I talk about horror. I also have a horror YouTube channel, so if you want to go check that out, if you're into horror. Tyler's actually on that sometimes, so that's really fun. So I'll hand it over to you, Tyler.
All right, I am Mr. T, aka the Judge. You can find me on Facebook at Mr. T's Comics and Collectibles. And like the Gorekeeper was saying, I am on Twitter. I don't have my handle posted down here yet, but catch me tweeting about the Shooting Star Press every week. And back for a second week, our special guest down below, Jon. Welcome back.
hey guys, yes, I'm Jonathan Leonard. You can find me on Twitter at MafuJohn. Yeah, that's about that. But thanks for having me back, guys.
No problem.
Glad to have you back.
I am too. I'm just gonna share this to a wrestling group really quick. So if you
Same.
guys just want to take over, actually, let me introduce what we're doing first. So right now we're gonna go. We always start the show with general thoughts about the week of wrestling, and a little bit before we went live here, we were talking about how not much happened in Impact. It was another recap show, so there's not much to talk about there. So mainly we're gonna be talking about the Brodie Lee tribute show
Right.
that AEW put on. That's gonna be the bulk of what's happening. We also have segments where we talk about best wrestler of the week. That's after general thoughts and discussion. We also have worst match / segment / wrestler, whatever you want, worst of whatever of the week. Then we're going to go into play a round of 20 questions where me and Jon are guessing Mr. T's wrestler he has for us by answering 20 questions. And then at the end, we open it up to Q&A. We do have a fan question this week, so we'll answer that.
Awesome.
Jon, in that question, you're going to be a lot more helpful, I think, than I would be. Okay, so Tyler, you said you had some stuff you wanted to
Yes.
talk about this show, how
Yes.
what it meant to you.
Real quick, let's do another toast for Mr. Brodie Lee, aka Jon Huber.
And while you do your little story, which I'm excited to hear, I'll be listening, but I'm going to take myself off screen for a second, and I'm going to go share it to a couple wrestling groups and get this going.
You should
All
probably
right.
do that for me as well to just give him the focus.
Yeah, I'll give you the room.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
All right, guys. So one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight was basically what got me into All Elite Wrestling. And the Gorekeeper and I eventually we're going to talk about how we became wrestling fans, but that's a story for another time. It's going to be much, much longer than what I'm about to say. But overall, I've been a wrestling fan pretty much since I was like, I don't know, 5 years old. And, you know, over the years, you know, you stop watching wrestling. I think we can all say we've had certain times in our lives where, you know, we've gotten out of wrestling for a little bit. And as of recently, like, I was out of wrestling for a number of years, and anytime I did watch wrestling, it was usually the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, sometimes Money in the Bank. And actually, what I wanted to talk about was how I got into All Elite Wrestling. So it actually started last year during the big shutdown, during the pandemic. We're still in the pandemic. But usually whenever there's a WWE pay-per-view coming up that I really want to watch, like the Royal Rumble or WrestleMania, usually I watch the Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown before the pay-per-view just to kind of get myself caught up with things. And actually last May of 2020, the WWE had a pay-per-view coming out called Money in the Bank, which all of you probably have heard about. So the reason I wanted to watch that pay-per-view so bad was because it was in the WWE headquarters, and they had to fight to the top of the building, and then there was a ring on top of the building, and the briefcase up top, obviously. And it really, really interested me, to say the least. So basically, last year in May, I was watching Monday Night Raw with my dad, with my uncle, to kind of get caught up and figure out where we're at in WWE before the pay-per-view. And I remember specifically watching that Monday Night Raw and just how boring and terrible it was. And during that Raw, I was talking to my uncle. I was like, I've heard about this other show that's supposed to be much, much better. It's called All Elite Wrestling. I've never seen it, though. And so he and I talked, and in fact, the very first episode I've ever seen of All Elite Wrestling was on May 6th, 2020. And most of you probably are going to know immediately once I start talking about that episode, because it, in my opinion, it was, okay, I'm hooked on AEW. I got to see what happens next week. Now, during that episode of Dynamite, it was, like I said, it was May 6th. One of the big matches was Cody Rhodes versus Joey Janela, which is a really great match. But the match that got me was the Inner Circle versus Kenny Omega and Matt Hardy in a street fight. Now, all of you are going to know exactly what that entails, because it is the infamous golf cart scene where Kenny and Matt drive down Sammy Garva and hit him really hard. Literally, after watching that Dynamite episode, I was like, holy smokes, like this is light years ahead of Monday Night Raw, because that Monday Night Raw was so boring, just lame. My uncle and I were texting the entire night of that episode of Dynamite, and I was just like, this is amazing. Like, they have fans, like, they have this and that. And it was that episode that got me to want to watch AEW the following week. Now, flash forward to next week. I already saw Money in the Bank. Huge letdown, in my opinion, but that's a talk for another time. But the second ever episode of Dynamite that I've ever seen was on May the 13th. And here's the match card. It's actually really good now that I look back on it. And so the prior Dynamite, it was a lot of wrestlers who had already seen and wrestled before. But on May the 13th, there was a ton of wrestlers that I got to watch for the very first time. So it started out with the Best Friends and Orange Cassidy versus the Jurassic Express. It was amazing. And there was Hikaru Shida versus Penelope Ford and Dr. Britt Baker and like one other chick, which is all right. And then Kenny and Matt had a match versus Ortiz and Santana, but it was more of like a traditional tag team match. I got to see MJF for the first time, which, if you don't know, I am a big major mark for MJF. I've got a scarf now that's similar to his. Jericho wrestled Pineapple Pete, which was, I don't know, funny, to say the least. But the main match that really, really got me to come back to All Elite Wrestling literally every Wednesday since this, was main event, Brodie Lee versus Christopher Daniels. And now, like I said, my uncle and I were texting this entire time. He's asking all these questions about all these wrestlers. And once we got to that main event, he's like, who the heck is this guy, Brodie Lee? And my uncle has a different opinion about, the way Brodie wrestled and this and that. But for me, being a WWE fan for over the years, watching Brodie wrestle as Luke Harper and, the whole Wyatt family, like, I love Bray Wyatt. I really, really do. He's probably one of my top wrestlers right now. But seeing how Luke Harper and Eric Rowan wrestled together, it just really wasn't doing it for me. I mean, they never talked. They didn't really ever do anything. What up, Joey? Welcome. But when I watched this episode of Dynamite and I saw Mr. Brodie Lee, the Exalted One, wrestle Christopher Daniels, my mind was completely just blown by how much Brodie was able to change his character from Luke Harper to Brodie Lee, and he was a main eventer that night, and he wrestled a few main events, in the future, and like I specifically remember talking to my uncle about Brodie Lee. I was like, yeah, he was Luke Harper in the WWE, didn't really ever amount to anything, and just seeing how AEW was able to help Jon Huber, Brodie Lee, change his character to what he wanted to be, and watching him do what he wanted to do, because AEW is a show by wrestlers, and for wrestling fans, and just seeing the complete 180 in my mind for what Brodie Lee was able to do for himself in his career. That's what truly got me coming back to Dynamite every single week, because in my mind I was just like, who are they going to get next from the WWE, and who are they going to make better? And in all honesty, if it wasn't for that episode of Dynamite, I probably would have never fell in love with wrestling again. And so when Brodie passed, I really didn't think about it too much. But once I started reading all the tweets and seeing how much he was going trending, like literally every wrestling program talking about him, like it really got me thinking, like, okay, Brodie affected everybody. How did he affect me? And luckily, I still had my texts. I've text messages going back to 2019, surprisingly. But I was able to look back and search the words AEW in my phone, and it brought me back to that night of May the 13th, talking to my uncle about wrestling. And he and I think he's hooked on it. I know I'm hooked on it. I've been watching it literally every Wednesday since. So thank you. Thank you, Jon Huber. Thank you, Mr. Brodie Lee, for helping me fall back in love with wrestling.
Very well stated, my friend.
Yes.
Rest in peace, Brodie Lee. We're gonna miss you, sir. I guess
Thanks,
I'll save what got me back into wrestling for another time. But let's talk about the general week. So a couple of things stood out to me this week, and I guess I could save it for the segments for best wrestler of the week and worst match. That segment of the week, we could save it for that.
Yeah,
but,
me too, actually.
Yeah, I do have a definitive worst wrestler of the week I have this week. Instead of worst match or segment, I have a worst wrestler, because the match wasn't bad, but there was a specific wrestler in that match that was awful. And I'll talk about that when it comes to it.
We'll tease this. Mine will actually be a worst thing that's going to, I guess already in the second episode, break the format, but screw it. This is the thing that definitively pissed me off this week.
Okay. I got some news that I took screenshots of earlier. Let me pull those up on my phone quick here that I wanted to talk about, so I knew I wouldn't forget. Let's see. Oh, okay. So this just came out today. OVW, the OVW champion, as we all know, is Brian Pillman Jr. He has been released of his contract. He's been appearing in AEW a lot, wrestling as part of the, what are they called? The something Blondes.
Yeah, the Hollywood Blondes.
Isn't it a kind of a takeoff of that, though?
It's a takeoff that. It's something Blondes, but it's the tag team with Griff Garrison that he's in. I forget the name of it.
Yeah.
But
Knockoff
they
Jungle Boy.
Yeah, Knockoff Jungle Boy. Who the fuck is Griff Garrison? But yeah, he's been released to OVW, so I assume he's going to be doing have a heavier influence on AEW now. Assuming he signs a contract, which I think he will. He's been doing quite a bit of matches in AEW with Griff Garrison, and he's really good. So I'm really excited about that, about the opportunity for Brian Pillman Jr. to show what he can really do on a major television show. So there was that.
And with that, I do have another little piece of news. That
Varsity Blondes.
Sort of thing.
Varsity Blondes, that's it.
I just looked it up.
Again, I will say I'm not too familiar with this person in terms of, but for anybody that was watching NWA or NWA Power with 3 R's, one of their wrestlers, who recently dropped their television championship, Zicky Dice, is apparently now a free agent from NWA, and he's publicly stated he wants to go to AEW. I don't know if that's going to happen, but he wants to. He kind of I forgot the nickname that he has. I completely forgot.
You
Like
sent
it's
it to
the
me.
Yeah, I did. I can't bring up my chats, but it's the
Hold
something.
on. It
Zicky
wasn't even
or
that
Zicky.
long ago.
I know.
Outlandish.
Yes, Zicky.
The outlandish
the
Zicky
outlandish Zicky Dice wants to.
I have never
come to
seen him.
AEW.
I just know that he used to be in like a punk band. That's all I know about him.
Yeah, I did do some YouTube diving. Like whenever there's a shot of somebody like that, I do some YouTube diving so I can quickly act like a hipster asshole and say I knew him before he signed, even though
Right.
I was an asshole.
Actually,
went on
with
YouTube
that,
and watched his best 50 moves.
while I was living at your house, John,
Yeah, we did that a lot.
yeah, no, like I naturally, before I even knew Jungle Boy was coming to AEW, I was just watching indie matches on YouTube, and I happened to come across a Jungle Boy match, and I was like, holy shit, and I remember sending it to you, and you were like, dude, AEW should sign that guy, and then lo and behold, they signed him on like the first day. Like, oh, okay, sweet. We didn't have to wait for it. That's awesome.
Or even I would say the closest to having that sort of premonition. This was before AEW was a thing, but I remember that you and I, from going to All In, was sold on Marco Stunt.
Oh yeah, Marco was awesome. I still love Marco Stunt.
I know that's a gigantic divisive topic, and we can get into that.
Oh yeah,
another fucking day. But at least, in case people are wondering, at least Brandon and I are pro Marco Stunt. But
what about you, Mr. T? How do you feel about Marco
honestly,
Stunt?
I don't mind him. I don't really love him. I don't really hate him. I mean, I love the Jurassic Express. You know, so I don't know. I don't really have a full opinion on him.
He originally actually wasn't in the Jurassic Express. He joined pretty late in it. He was like probably 3-4 months into AEW. He finally got joined because he was part of another promotion and he was signed.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah, he was signed to another promotion. So as soon as he got done with his contract there, he came to AEW and they threw him with Jurassic Express right away. But he was not originally in there.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, the fact that he is, you know, a very unique wrestler, like with his height and his abilities, you know, it's really good for wrestling for AEW to have him. I mean, think of all the little kids who want to be a wrestler and might not be able to physically meet what used to be the expected standards of being bulky, long hair, blonde, tan, you know.
Big sweaty man.
Exactly. Yeah, it is. Yes.
Another piece of news I have here that John actually shared to me. I didn't see this until he sent me it, but Sami Callihan has re-signed with Impact, so that makes me very excited. I did not want. I did kind of want him to go to AEW, but I didn't know if AEW would want him, and I didn't want him to go to ROH or nothing. So I'm excited that he's going to be an Impact more. The official word that he said was.
Well, I was going to say with a possible AEW Impact
partnership, yes,
could also very well
we could set it. But his official statement on Twitter was,
"When Tony Khan buys TNA, you mean?" It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I know it's gonna. It has to happen. I mean,
his tweet was, "Today marks when I would have been a free agent. I just re-signed with Impact Wrestling 2 years for big money. I got other offers, but I don't give a damn. This is my company. I made this company. I will be champion again in 2021. # the draw." And I'm a huge Sami Callihan fan. I do believe he will be champion again. I do really believe that.
I'm trying to learn to love him, like you.
Oh, I think he's fantastic. And he has the best merch, too. His merch is incredible.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, and also in Impact news for people who are gone, I believe at the ass end of January, Ethan Page becomes a free agent. And who knows?
Oh, wow.
From what it sounds like is it will be a 3-company bidding war, because I know Impact wants him back because of his teaming with the North.
I've heard WWE wants him
because he's a talent, and WWE wants him because they hoard talent like motherfuckers.
Yes.
I don't know if they have I don't know if they have genuine interest. I do not know, but
he's a great talent though, and he's awesome on the mic, and the North is such a good tag team. Yeah, he'll get big money. I even like his
karate gimmick.
I never saw that.
Oh, it's what he's doing currently.
Oh, okay.
He is not Ethan Page. I should. Sorry. Apologies to Ethan Page. Karate. I'm forgetting what the. I think it might be just Karate Ethan. Is not Ethan Page. There are 2 separate Twitter accounts. There's.
Boy, this is not the Ethan I was thinking it was. I'm looking him up right now.
Oh, okay, yeah. Ethan Page was the one half of the North.
Okay.
And he's also one of the guys that made Cultaholics. I think it was Cultaholic or What Culture. One of the list of best body transformations of 2020. That he's got. That he's in. That he wasn't in horrible shape, but I would say he had a body similar to Joey Janela in the beginning of the year, and he's absolutely jacked and yoked currently.
Yep. The last bit of news I wanted to share before we get into our next segment, which is Best Wrestler of the Week, is that Hulk Hogan recently said on something, I forget if it was just an interview website or whatever, but Hulk Hogan said Matt Riddle is the future of WWE. He thinks he's the next guy. What do you guys think about that? Do you guys think... I think Matt Riddle has all the tools to do that, but I don't think they're going to treat him like that. I don't see it happening. Like, there's nothing... He did
sign an extension.
He did. Yes, he did. That's very true. But I just... You know how WWE is with giving up on pushes. Yeah. It happens all the time. So they might have been like, you know what? We are going to push Matt Riddle, but I don't see them following through with it. I think Matt Riddle made a huge mistake by re-signing with him. Even his NXT run was nothing to write home about. I didn't love what he was doing in NXT. And I knew about him before he came to NXT. Like, me and John both had seen Matt Riddle stuff before. Yeah. And so we were excited when he was coming to NXT because everyone flourishes in NXT. It's just... As much as I despise WWE, NXT is great. It is. And they know how to use their talent. But with Matt Riddle, it felt like something just wasn't meshing right, you know? It's just not clicking.
They need to give him his full name back, for one.
Is it just Riddle now?
Yeah. It's been just Riddle.
He's been just Riddle for a while.
I haven't watched the weekly shows in forever, so I don't know.
But in NXT,
oh, we got some new viewers in here. Hey, come say hi if you're watching.
Yes, say hello.
Come join the chat with us, guys.
I do remember groaning when he was the tag champ and he was doing the Bobby Fish rhyme over and over again. I thought that was stupid as shit.
Yeah.
I would love to see Matt Riddle and Rob Van Dam do something like some type of a feud or be a tag team or something. I think that would be hilarious and it'd be a lot of good fan service for people like me.
I'm trying to think
Van Dam actually...
You go ahead, John.
Gonna say, oddly, Van Dam has talked about his current free agentness. He said that he hasn't had any contact with anybody in AEW. Still on good terms with Impact. But at this point, what he's doing is he's wanting to do high-priced one-offs at this stage of his career. Basically, he feels like he can command the money by coming and doing a match at either indie event that blows their budget or a one-off thing rather than necessarily signing any long-term contracts because he's like getting to be, I don't know, in his late 40s, early 50s, whatever the hell it is.
He looks every day of that too.
Yes.
Yes. But like I was saying before, I can't think of any Matt Riddle matches that if he, let's say he did leave WWE, I know he just resigned, so it's not going to happen, but right. I can't think of any matches outside of WWE, any promotion that I'd really care to really even see, other than in New Japan. I would love Matt Riddle to go to New Japan.
Yes.
Because Matt Riddle works very well with the strong style stuff. I mean, he did MMA, so it works. The strong style gimmick works over there.
Yeah, so just the idea of
I would love him to see go with Zack Sabre Jr. or
Suzuki.
Sonata. Kota Ibushi would be amazing. Suzuki versus Matt Riddle would be a freaking clinic. It'd be so good. Tomohiro Ishii versus Matt Riddle would be amazing. There's just so many. So the only time I think I'm ever going to be excited about Matt Riddle again is if he ever makes the leap to New Japan, which I don't see happening. I don't think it's ever going to happen because he likes smoking the ganja, and New Japan is very not happening here, you know. So they're very strict on their talent over there for that kind of stuff. So it's not going to happen unless Matt quits the ganja and wants to do that. I think there could be some interest in the future then maybe if he stopped doing that stuff, but I don't think he will. He's probably going to make, with this new deal, he's probably making tons of money in WWE, so I don't see him leaving WWE unless something major happens with his creative that he just hates. But we'll see.
Yeah.
I think I heard that it was him. I think the terms kind of came out, but that he said that they said that he's actually... The terms ended up being the exact same that he had previously rejected. I think he just kind of was like, well, this pandemic's going on. I better get a secure thing. The only thing that came out that was for sure was that there would be a $50,000 bonus for every Saudi Arabia show that he does.
Okay. Well, do you guys want to move into our next segment? Sure. Unless you guys have anything else for the general week you want to talk about or any news?
So next Monday, I know we are mainly an AEW show, but next Monday night is going to be pretty sweet. Here we go. Brian just said, when Adam Cole's contract expires, should he resign?
We will save that for the end for the Q&A portion. Yes. Brian and Cameron.
Welcome.
Brian and Cameron, thank you so much for joining. We will answer your questions at the end of towards the end of the show when we do our Q&A portion. But let's leap into our our next segment, which is Wrestler of the Week. We're doing Wrestler of the Week, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm sure we all have different ones. So
I bet I have the same as one of you guys.
Okay, I have a tie on mine.
You guys go first.
I have two.
Me too. I'm torn between two.
I think we all might be on the same two. Okay, my two, I'll just say it right here. I'm not sure who I'm going to pick, but Stu Grayson really, really impressed me this week. He's shown me a lot of stuff this week that I had not seen previously, and he really impressed me. And that match was awesome. The one he had with Evil Uno and all that. It was just so good. And my second one was John Silver. Johnny Hungy.
Yeah.
You know,
those are my two.
Those were your two too? Yeah.
Mine is John Silver.
Yeah, I think I might have to go with John Silver. He was just so... he's always so good, but this week he really had it.
Yeah. Do you guys follow him on Twitter?
Ooh, yes, I do.
Yeah, so I don't really want to compare who was most heartbroken and felt the worst over Brodie Lee's passing. But just everything I was seeing come from John Silver's Twitter, and then seeing how he performed, and honestly too, you know, after the match was over, just how he felt.
The genuine emotion, you could tell.
The genuine emotion just poured out of him. I mean, the ring attire he wore, Brodie Lee bought for him.
Yeah.
The whole attire, the jacket, everything, and you know, doing his move at the end, the way he did was, you know, that whole match. Like, I tried to keep it together as long as I could, and it was that match. The second Eric Rowan showed up, I started crying. I lost it, and you know, and then seeing John Silver do his move and break down at the end. I'll be honest, I was in tears. I really was.
Yeah.
Oh, there were several times. We'll get to that, but I mean,
yeah.
The thing. The thing.
Wait, before you go on, so we're all in agreement. John Silver was the best wrestler of the week, right?
one of, I think.
Yeah.
For me, yes, hands down.
Okay. Yeah, me too. I want to ask the guys in chat here if Joey, Brian, and Cameron are still with us. If you guys have a different wrestler of the week, I would love to see what you guys think. So put up in the chat who your wrestler of the week is. Tyler just said he has to pee, so he'll be right back. But if chat's still here, let us know who your wrestler of the week is. Comment it, and we'll pull it up on screen, and we can talk about it.
Well, you even talked about this, too, that even John Silver in Being the Elite, before he recorded his bits, looked like he'd been crying all fucking day.
Yeah, his eyes were red as hell.
I will say, I know that they didn't cover it, but Christ almighty, the most consistent amount of laughter in this sea of sadness that got me was I watched so many goddamn clips of Sue Trent's mom throwing the paper. Holy shit, was that funny?
Yeah, that was great. Cameron agrees. He's Silver for sure.
Okay. But even just watching everybody's like, there were some audible chuckles. Brodie got a smile. I have no idea how Brodie Lee kept that shit together and just yelled throw it again. And for those who didn't see, one of the common bits in Being the Elite is Brodie Lee chucked the paper at his fucking disciples. And one episode they had
he has a whole shirt about it.
Right, had a whole bit where Sue Trent's mom has basically infiltrated the whole damn show because everyone loves her. And they have this whole bit of Silver not liking her cooking and Brodie Lee yelling at her to fucking throw the paper, and she chucks it, but the way she chucked it, it spikes straight to the fucking ground. Mm-hmm. And she goes, oh! And Brodie just yells, do it again! Fucking throw it! And she gets it the second time, but you see a smile on his face, but he kept it together. You do hear Silver and those guys laughing, and that was the thing they also said in Being the Elite, that there were so many times, like that's where the whole "Are you crying, boy?" With Brodie Lee and them came in, because of the fact that they were smiling and trying to cover up, and he was covering for them. Go, what are you crying? You crying, boy? You crying, bitch? Like, was
Being the Elite is a must watch, especially if you're an AEW fan. You have to watch Being the Elite.
Yes,
it's so great.
And also there's I do hear some people bitching and saying it sucks that we have to watch this show to get
Kevin Owens.
Well, we got a comment. I'm definitely a mark for this guy, but KO was my wrestler of the week. The work he's doing with Roman and Jay is excellent.
Yeah.
He always does the absolute best he can despite the bullshit. Yes, Kevin Owens is an incredible talent.
He's doing so much for Roman Reigns right now.
He's making Roman look so good.
Yes.
It's that, and I even like
Kevin Owens, I can see that.
I think more than anybody, Kevin Owens is also taking advantage of, I know that they have the piped in crowd noise, but the fact that the hot mics can pick up everything that the wrestlers are saying, that in this feud, to make it more personal, he's doing a lot of fucking jaw jacking, especially in his match with Jey Uso on Friday. Was I forgot exactly a couple of the clips he said or what but just some top notch shit. And then of course that bump. I mean, someone they did point out one frustrating thing. They said with Kevin Owens, and then also this week on SmackDown with Rude and Ziggler, he goes, why the hell is it that WWE makes these guys look like such legitimate threats after they've already fucking lost their title matches? It's infuriating. If they did this in the build-up, we're ready for the pay-per-view. But the build-up with Kevin Owens was him getting his ass fucking kicked every single week into TLC. Yep. Does this, and then he has these.
He needs some type of backup.
They do it fucking ass. At least right now. This isn't shitting on WWE, but right now, one of the most frustrating things is them doing shit like this ass backwards. Or like Rude and Ziggler look legitimately great as a tag team this week. First time I've ever fucking said that. Would have been nice if they did that before they've already faced the Street Profits how many goddamn times already for the titles.
Yeah.
Yep.
God damn it. But still.
One thing I got to say about the WWE, and it's one of the things I truly hate about the way they operate, is the way they hold good talent back.
Yes.
But one thing I would love to see and you know how Roman Reigns' gimmick of being the head of the table, Samoa, whatever, blah blah blah. If this happened 10 years ago, I would love to see The Rock come back and be like, I'm your older cousin, I'll kick your ass. But
I think that was in the plans, wasn't it? At some point,
here's what I
rumored.
would love to see. I would love to see Samoa Joe do something for once,
Yeah,
and come out and be like, I am the best Samoan on this program. I am the Samoan submission machine, and I
think
will
he's still
kick
injured
your
right now,
ass.
though.
Yeah,
I think he's still injured from that stupid commercial he did.
Yeah, one thing that worries me is that he has gotten to the point in his career where he's just like, you know what? If they're going to pay me all this money to just sit here and do nothing, I'll take it. You know, it's not about the wrestling anymore. Like, I worry that the money is what matters most to him and not the actual wrestling anymore. But I could be wrong.
Well, he is getting older. He's done a lot of stuff, and he is injured, so maybe he just feels comfortable being in the commentator role for right now, but I do miss him wrestling. And WWE totally mishandled him. They treated him like a king up into for every build, but then would never let him get the big win.
I wish they would
never let him get the big win. It's just I wish they would have done.
I wish they would have done for him. What they've done for AJ, even a little bit, even if it was half of what they did for AJ. I wish they could have done that for Samoa Joe.
They've treated AJ spectacularly well. I think AJ is one of the few guys that they have booked into almost perfection. He's just been booked really well overall. There's been little things here and there, but that's in every wrestling promotion. But for the most part, they've handled AJ very well, and I did not think they were going to. Like, when he entered the Rumble, me and John were there. We were watching it together. We marked out so hard.
Oh yes.
And then after he got eliminated, I was like, oh. But are they going to treat him like garbage now because he's former TNA? Like, how's this going to play out? And I was wrong. They treated him very well. That his His program with John Cena was just incredible. Oh my god! I remember watching that one match they had. And he was talking about, in the build-up, he kept talking about how he could wrestle circles around John Cena. And then he got John Cena down on the mat and was literally, like, hopping circles around him, telling him he could wrestle him, like that. And that was so good. The chemistry they had was unreal, even though they had probably never encountered each other before. It's just like, geez, they had such a good feud. I loved every second of it. Probably my favorite John Cena match of all time is that one with AJ Styles, honestly. It's so good. But let's get into our...
Mine would still be Punk, Money in the Bank.
Never saw that match. I wasn't watching wrestling yet.
Oh, God.
But I have to go back and watch it because everyone has been saying it's great. So I'll have to go back and watch it. Let's jump into our next segment.
Okay.
Which is worst match / segment / wrestler moment thing in wrestling of the week. I wrote worst match, but I really kind of meant worst thing of the week in wrestling. I want to start with mine really quick, which is a wrestler this time. Last week, as I said, it was the 2020 shit with Drew McIntyre. That was my least favorite thing of the week. But this week, it was a performance by Penelope Ford. She looked so sloppy in there. And this is not the first match where she has looked sloppy. I don't think she is ready to be in the ring. She needs to train more. She's just not ready to be in those high spot, that high of a spot of a match, like I remember not too long ago, it was probably a couple months ago on AEW, there was a Fatal 4-Way that she was involved with, and almost everything she did looked sloppy as hell, and no one knew how to bump for her. It's just like so it's not just that was a bad time. Like, it's been consistent. Every match she's had, something goes wrong, or something looks sloppy, or something went off, someone didn't bump right. It's just like the problem has to be Penelope Ford. There's no other explanation. So for me this week, the worst thing of the week was that match and because it had Penelope Ford in it, she just ruined it for me. That's mine. Anybody else?
Yeah. I guess I don't really have the worst performer of the week. I don't really deem it fair to give that out to anyone, just because the entire episode of Dynamite, you knew it was going to be heavy favoring the Dark Order.
Yep.
And honestly, I knew they were always gonna win. Like, it wasn't a doubt in my mind.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And
that's what it was.
Out of everything,
this week.
yeah, out of every match this week, the only one that bored me enough to fast forward it was the female wrestling match, and I don't really have a good reason for it. I don't really know enough about whatever her name is, number 99 for the Dark Order.
Anna Jay.
Yeah.
I had to pop out for a second.
Like, I know that Brodie did a lot for her in being in
super young
the Dark Order. Yeah. But really, there wasn't really anything in that match that really did it for me. So I fast forwarded that, and anytime I fast forward through a match, that's almost an automatic worst match of the week for me. But again, it's not really fair to really say that any match was terrible with knowing that the entirety of Dynamite was a tribute show.
Yeah. To Brian's comment, the Billy Kay segment with Riot Squad was pretty terrible. I wouldn't know about that. I don't watch WWE Weekly. I only watch Impact and AEW Weekly.
I
but
follow...
John, you watch weekly wrestling still, right, on WWE?
Yeah,
sometimes. I did happen to see that. I will say...
What happened?
Okay. Long short of it is, for one sort of week, she ended up being not entirely useless and helped out the Riot Squad to actually pick up a victory. And I'd say she was personally, in my opinion, she was fine. It's maybe more of just people not liking her comedy shtick, which is fine and valid. I mean, I at least see it as she's doing something semi-different when WWE women, like I sort of addressed last week, are pretty blasé in terms of character and unique personality, and it's her trying to be funny without being... Because usually the way it is in WWE is if a woman is funny, it's because she's crazy, and they're at least not doing she's fucking crazy. She just has a kind of personality.
Agreed.
But anyways, to get to the terrible booking of her. Yeah, well, see, that's the thing. That goes back to the whole thing about them needlessly breaking up the Iconics.
Yeah, that didn't. I was still watching the weekly shows then, but that should have happened.
But
WWE's booking is all out of whack.
It is.
And
it has been for a long time.
With Lacey and a different team, when they were gonna first make Peyton a standout performer, but they're like, she needs to be in a tag team. Oh, that's funny because she wasn't one. And then you have Billy Kay on SmackDown. But anyways, for my worst, this is going to be a worst thing. As shocking as this may be, I feel the need to defend WWE a little bit.
Okay.
All right.
There was
Enlighten me.
There was a small subsect of people, and then also a couple professional wrestlers who felt like the way that WWE handled the passing of Brodie Lee was disrespectful to what they did. The fact that it was just a graphic. People were wanting the full roster on there. 10 salute. There's kind of a 2-3. There's like 3 things to this why I think that is completely invalid. One,
I agree with that.
Yes, he was a part of the company, but he's not there anymore. So they absolutely knew that AEW was going to do something.
Yep.
They knew that. Tony Khan announced it.
Right.
So how would that look if they had actually done and did their own Brodie Lee tribute? People would be up in fucking
pissed.
arms
that
they completely stole the thunder of AEW, and they'd go, what they do that for? He doesn't even work for them anymore. They filled their show with subtle tributes, both moves and by people who affected it. They added it into their promo. They had their commentary say, it's Monday, you know what that means. They had promos that they put out on Twitter. They had, and they had that even continue on to Friday. In Big E's promo, Big E did the fucking Luke Harper Gator roll during his fucking match to try to pull out another move that hadn't yet been done already in the 2 fucking previous shows prior. And they had their own sort of video segments similar to what AEW did that they threw up on YouTube and social. So in this case, I'm saying that WWE absolutely deserves a pass on how they handled this. They let the wrestlers grieve.
Yeah, I agree.
Outpouring of support in their own fucking way. There did not need to be a corporate way that WWE fucking did this.
I agree 100%.
And one thing I want to chime in on that too, if you have watched wrestling as long as the 3 of us have, then you'll know that the WWE's been around long enough that it's not their first wrestler passing, and for them, obviously Brodie was massive to the industry and affected every wrestler on every platform. But the WWE needs to be consistent with how they treat every single passing. You know, it wouldn't really be fair for them to dedicate a whole show to Brodie Lee and then do virtually nothing of the such for, say, Pat Patterson, for Shad Gathorn. You know, the one thing that will be interesting going forward for the AEW is sadly to say, whenever the next superstar / wrestler for the program passes away. So, like, let's say tomorrow,
all the same thing. If they don't, they're gonna look.
Are they gonna retire every single belt the next time someone passes? Like, how are they gonna treat this going forward? You know, from a work standpoint, you got like from. Yep, go ahead. So for me, like, you got to be consistent and you got to treat everyone fairly. So, if the next wrestler to pass away doesn't get a 10-bell salute, doesn't get any kind of somewhat similar treatment, then it's going to make AEW look really, really bad. But you also got to take into account this is the first major wrestler that has worked on AEW. I guess I haven't watched AEW from the start. Literally, like I said, it's been since last May, but I'm pretty certain this is the first major performer to pass away that was signed to the program. So they had to do it right. They had to do a huge show to it, and you can't, no one can sit there and tell me that, Cody Rhodes didn't discuss it over with Triple H, like saying, hey, we're going to do a massive thing. Let this be our baby. Go ahead and, put up a promo, do what you need to do what you feel is right. But just so you know, the limelight for him is us. And
sorry about that, guys.
No worries. But there's nothing that anyone can really say, with a lack of performance. I mean, the WWE let superstars wear wristbands that say, RIP Brodie, all these other things, letting Big E do what he did. The fact that the WWE let their employees essentially do a shout out, kind of, sort of, for All Elite Wrestling.
Yeah,
it says a lot.
It says a lot.
It really says a lot.
They were actively saying, we're watching this show at the same fucking time NXT's going on. You had Kevin Owens, Sammy, fucking, saying we're watching this show.
And it really makes me sad for whoever the next person is that's been a part of the company to pass away.
Yeah.
Because that show was the most difficult show I've ever watched. Hands down.
Yes,
I have to agree.
It's up there with Eddie, for sure.
Oh yeah, Eddie was hard.
Eddie was hard, especially since he died in Minnesota.
That was the big one too. And then a lot of people bring up, but again, I wasn't watching at that time. But Owen Hart's death and that tragedy.
Yeah, I can imagine what that was like.
I was probably too young and probably not watching wrestling yet when that happened. So
Yeah, because that was 98, 99.
yeah, I'm pretty
somewhere in
sure
there.
I was watching WCW instead of WWF at that point. So
I was
Yeah.
I wasn't in it at all back then,
No.
but
They can hear you.
sorry.
But,
But-
Oh,
That's how loud you were.
I guess I'm talking really loud.
sorry, Brandon.
it very well
okay.
could be me as well.
All right, should we get on to 20 questions?
We can,
Okay.
unless Johnny got one more comment.
Nope, nothing else.
Today's game is, well, it's the game every week. Who am I?
Who am I, boys? And I actually wrote down some notes this time, so I don't 100% have to pay attention to Wikipedia
Okay.
or rely on the internet. I will have to look at it at some point.
John, do your best not to look at the comments. I'm going to pull up a different tab so I don't see any comments here, so I cannot cheat. Got my little counter
Okay.
here. All right. Is everyone ready?
I am ready.
Okay, John, do you want to send off the first question or should I?
You can.
Am I currently active? Am I a currently active wrestler?
No.
No. Okay.
Am I a Hall of Famer?
Let me check. I don't think so yet because let me check. Yes. Yes, he is. Oh,
Okay.
it's a guy. You guys know it's a dude now.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for the bonus.
Okay.
You don't have to waste
Okay.
that.
Yes. So he's not a current wrestler. He's a Hall of Famer. But he's not put up on the shelf for the rest of time. Like he still does stuff once in a while, once in a blue moon.
Okay. Am I white?
Yes.
Okay, that takes away me doing a shot in the dark because I felt very certain on this one, but now it's gone.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Was I a world champion?
Yes.
Okay.
Ooh, okay. 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 You
I've
said
got some.
You said I
I've
still
got
do
5
stuff,
hints.
so you said I
Yes.
still do stuff, so I'm not dead. I'm very much
Not
alive.
not very much alive. Yes.
Okay. Not an active wrestler. Am I still employed by WWE?
Oh man, I have not a clue. I would go out and say yes.
Okay.
Oh.
I'm not even gonna look it up. I'm just gonna say yes because some of the news reports within literally the last year would say that he is yes. Yes. Your answer is yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Have I wrestled in the last 5 years?
Yes.
Manias.
Oh man. Okay. Let me check.
I know that's an asshole question, isn't it?
No. It's actually a very smart question. I just wish you guys would ask better questions, but that's fine.
I think these are pretty good. We're whittling them down.
I know he was not in the last one, so bear with me. I gotta check because we just had WrestleMania 35, right?
I don't even know. John, that's your question.
I don't know.
Let me double check.
They stopped doing names after 30. The numbers.
Okay, so WrestleMania 35 was in 2019. Let me check in.
So we did 26. Oh, 36. So extra 37. Okay.
Man, John, I'm trying to think of guys who are in the Hall of Fame, wrestled in the last 5 years, are white,
Well,
Currently employed by
Now,
WWE, but
if-
not an active wrestler.
This WWE one, this question might put me in a particular name depending on what he says.
Okay. I found which one it was.
I think I got it.
No, you don't.
I think I do.
You will if I answer yes. Let's see.
I almost feel like Edge going in the corner with the spear. Just
Oh, there's a comment.
him.
I want to. There's a comment. I really want to
No.
check it, but
no,
I won't.
no.
Sorry, comments. I'll check you after the game because I don't want to cheat.
Oh, she's asking,
If you're not-
is the attire he wears iconic to his name? No. That's
I'm-
a
Does
good
that count
question.
for us as a
That should
question?
I mean, literally,
No, somebody asked that.
that question, me answering that question is going to be zero help for either of you.
Okay, so what was the question again?
Okay,
Does she
yes, he did.
Okay.
Okay. So now we're down to 10. John, who you
Okay,
thinking
so
here?
I have.
Let's
Okay,
talk about this
well,
a little bit.
I'm sounding it out here. Well, he said it wasn't this year, so that rules out Goldberg, not
Yep.
Goldberg. I'm trying to think here. One of the common Hall of Famers that wrestled at least within the last couple. I'll do it because what the fuck ever. If I'm wrong, then we're down. Is it Kurt Angle?
No.
Oh, shit! Was that what you were sitting on too?
No,
Oh, okay.
it wasn't.
Okay.
I do have a guess,
God.
but I don't want to just take a shot in the dark since we're getting low on questions here.
If you guys would like a hint,
No.
No.
here's the new rule. You get 3 hints every game, so use them wisely. They're not going to be anything to really, really help you out. Honestly, if you ask like your 3rd hint, I'll give you something that'll help you a lot, probably. But the first 2 are not going to help you at all.
Okay,
But
I'm trying to
I have
think now.
done.
What?
All right, here's something I will give to you guys. I'll give you guys a free hint.
Oh God,
Down.
trying to think.
I'm gonna give you
Okay.
a free. I'm
Wait,
gonna give
I
you a
have a-
free.
I have a
I'm gonna give
question
you
first.
one free hint after
Okay.
your question.
Do I or have I ever worn a mask?
No.
Oh, there goes my aunt.
Here's your free hint.
Oh,
In my personal opinion, had the biggest flop in WrestleMania history.
It's your question, John.
Okay, let me narrow it down with this. Am I a 2-time WWE Hall of Famer?
No.
No, there's a reason. Shit.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, your
so
answer is
that rules
no.
out-
So sorry.
Okay.
Is
that
my
rules out something I
hair
was leaning
longer
towards.
than shoulder length or at shoulder length?
No. Oh, that's funny.
Okay, so short-haired sons of bitch. Got it.
Or
Okay.
bald?
Or bald. Well, you know.
No.
All right.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not going to give you any more hints until you ask.
Oh, we have 2 comments now.
I ain't
I
looking.
can't see them though. I'm not looking either.
All she said was that's agreeable. All I see is she asked about his attire being iconic to his name, and I answered that already, and then she said that's agreeable. So, all right, next question. Who's asking?
It's John. I asked about the hair.
Oh shit! Yeah, you're right. Fuck. Oh man.
We
Okay.
have to get better than 2 questions left. 'Cause that's what you and Ace got last time. If we can get this next couple, that'd be great.
As a child, I was gifted a yo-yo with this wrestler's image, and a whole yo-yo is about him. And to this day, I have never opened it.
That doesn't help at all.
I know.
I didn't
You
know
guys
you
don't.
had it.
You don't know my collection, obviously.
No, I don't. I've never been to your house yet.
I know.
Oh. John, you gotta give us a good one here, man. If I can get an image in my head of what this person looks like, I could.
Okay.
There's so many good questions you guys haven't asked.
I'm trying to think here of a good question. Okay, at WrestleMania, was it a cameo?
Which WrestleMania?
I'm referring to the
most recent.
what we previously established.
Okay.
No, what we previously established within the last 3 years, because I never said which.
The answer is no.
Okay, so
it was not a
match.
cameo.
Oh,
yes.
okay. Shit.
And it's not Goldberg.
No.
But it seems like it's Goldberg. Do I dare say it? I'm gonna say it. Is it Goldberg?
It's not, because he wrestled this last WrestleMania. Wait a minute, he wrestled this last WrestleMania.
You asked the question, has he wrestled within the last 3 WrestleManias? And the answer was yes.
Oh yeah, he did say yes.
He did wrestle.
Yes.
Good job, boys.
Goldberg.
You survived the 20 questions in time.
So why did I rule out Goldberg, I wonder?
I don't know.
I don't know where that went wrong.
I don't know.
Anyone in the chat, did you get that before we did? Did you guys know it was Goldberg
Be right
before
back.
we did?
Yeah, I need to be right back, too.
I have to go pee, too. So
Just a sec.
I'll wait till Tyler gets
Give me
back.
like 30 seconds. Okay, let me go for a second.
I will hold it. Oh, no one else in the chat seems to have got it before we did. Nope. Alright. Oh, now I'm here. I'm going to remove him. I had the floor to myself. Oh, I said Shockmaster. Okay, no. Did you say Shockmaster because of the graphic here? Because that's just the graphic we made for 20 questions. That does not necessarily mean that is Shockmaster. It's just a graphic.
Sorry, dudes. I am back. I broke the seal a while ago.
Kimmy Cole said here she thought it was the Shockmaster because of the graphic we have.
Oh, okay.
The Who Am I graphic.
That's a great guess. I'm surprised you knew who that was, Kimmy. I'm impressed with you now.
All right, Tyler, I'm going to give you main because I'm going to hit the toilet.
All right. So with that being said, it is the second time we played 20 questions, and also back-to-back weeks. It has been a WCW heavy wrestler. Some of the other hints I had were just recently had a birthday. I believe his birthday was like the 27th of December. He played in the NFL. He had a short career with the Atlanta Falcons. And if you Google image what he looked like, he is pretty unrecognizable. I mean, he had hair. He weighed a lot more. One of the other hints was he has arguably one of the most iconic tattoos of all time, in my opinion, and one of the most iconic entrances was the other hint. A little bit of talk about the biggest flop in WrestleMania history. If most of you don't remember WrestleMania 20, where it all begins again in Madison Square Garden, there was so much hype for Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar. and it was a match that everyone had been wanting to see for so long. And I remember very specifically watching that at my friend Doug's house, and that was a match he wanted to see more than anything. I was a little different. I was a big John Cena fan, and I wanted to see John Cena real bad. But Cena's match was the very first one. He defeated the Big Show for his very first United States title. But yeah, the Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg match with Stone Cold as the special guest referee, arguably, in my opinion, one of the biggest letdowns of a match in WrestleMania history.
Kimmy Cole says she dated a wrestler at once upon a time. Who was that?
No way.
I am interested.
Probably an amateur.
Well, did you know that? Did you know going into it the circumstances surrounding? Because I think this might be the first match that I can think of. This I was going to say this might be the first match I can think of that got destroyed because of a dirt sheet.
Yeah, basically, so it was leaked that Brock Lesnar was going to be joining the NFL, and his contract was up, and that was his last match. So I don't, honestly, I think because of how horrible the match was, that just made everyone hate it more, knowing that Brock was going to the NFL only to fail, as we all know. Like the only highlight you can find of Brock Lesnar is from a preseason game where he gets behind the line of scrimmage and gets the running back like once or twice, and that's literally it. Other than the one really cool rookie card that he has out there, which I'd love to own, but is impossible to find and way too much money. He was the first notable person that I know on the Vikings to don the number 69.
Jared Allen did it.
Yeah, Jared Allen.
Yep, Jared did it after, but Brock was the first.
Yeah. All right, let's get into our last segment of the day, which is...
Good, I'm at 20%.
Who Dares Question Me, featuring Eddie Kingston.
Okay.
Because he's the best. Actually, it's not featuring Eddie Kingston. I wish we could get him on the show, but we never will.
Brandon, check your message once.
Okay, we got a comment from Kimmy Cole, too. Right here.
He was in high school. He wasn't very good.
First date was a match. He got me to wrestle.
Okay.
My favorite Matt Hamill, granted UFC night. Okay.
Okay,
That's
I'm
neat.
sorry that you dated I'm sorry that you dated Giant Gonzalez in high school. Okay.
Or Mantar.
Let's move on.
He was a giant man.
All right, so we have questions from earlier.
All right.
Yeah, we bring them up from Brian and Cameron. We had some. Let's bring those back up. The first
Brian and Cam, if you're still here, go ahead and comment down below so we know you're here.
Oh, there.
Yeah, it's right here. When Adam Cole's contract expires, should he resign or jump ship to AEW? I think we are all going to have different opinions on this. For me, I think jump ship because I don't want him to get called up to the main roster because we all know what happens to NXT people going to the main roster. It's usually a giant disaster. They'll probably break up the Undisputed Era, which would be a huge disaster and not a good booking decision. So I say, dude, I don't care where he goes. I just somewhere where I can watch him wrestle, I'd be happy with that. But as long as he's on NXT, I'm fine with him staying there. But I do not want him called up the main roster whatsoever. What do you guys think?
No. Well, I wouldn't be fine if all four Undisputed Eras eventually... all four guys there eventually want to bounce, because I honestly, in this current WWE landscape, main roster, I don't know what their ceiling is, and on top of it, in NXT, I think it's starting to get to the point of what else can they achieve. I mean, yes, there is the North American title for each of the other guys individually, but other than that, they've done basically every title combination there damn near is in NXT right now.
Any other thoughts on that one?
I understand it also from the dating thing too. I was going to say I understand the Adam Cole maybe wanting to leave from the dating thing. Maybe he'd actually like to be a part of the New Year's Eve, Christmas, Tony Khan party photos rather than just be photographed from the back.
So here's my opinion on that, and I'll be honest with you guys. I've seen maybe one episode in total of NXT. I've seen lots of clips on YouTube, lots and lots of clips.
Wow, I did not know that about you.
Like I said, I was out of wrestling for a number of years, and it wasn't until AEW I started getting back into it. But here's my honest opinion on that. Number one, let me ask you guys: has Adam Cole ever wrestled on Monday Night Raw or SmackDown?
No, he has made not that I remember notably. He has made appearances in Royal Rumbles. He has done that.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I had a feeling I had maybe seen him in pay-per-view or something. So, okay, with that being said...
He was on a couple episodes of Raw or SmackDown.
Wait a minute. What, he was involved with the Survivor Series when it was Raw, SmackDown, NXT.
Okay.
Yep, he was
on Team NXT.
Okay. So Adam Cole has been on WWE pay-per-views, right?
Yes.
Okay, so with that being said, if I were Adam Cole, if I were a wrestler personally, like the major dream for I think we all could agree that if any one of us was a wrestler and could be with a program, I think we've all had that dream of wrestling for the WWE. Being a part of that, it's like it's a lot similar, I think, to playing for the New York Yankees. Like being the most notable team, most notable company.
Yeah.
You all want a WrestleMania moment,
Yes, you want to be talked about in the same way, that your favorite wrestlers were growing up. Like, to be able to say like, hey, I wrestled for the same company that Hulk Hogan wrestled in, and Ultimate Warrior, Macho, even The Rock, Undertaker, stuff like that. So really, in my opinion, it's going to be up to two things. Does Adam Cole care more about money, or does he care more about his wrestling career and being the best wrestler that he's ever wanted to be? Now, with that being said, depending on whatever, because obviously the WWE is going to throw out a contract to him. Whatever that entails, like if the contract basically is along the lines of, hey, we want to make you a main guy, we want to put you in main events, this and that, blah 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 blah, constantly challenging for the title. I could see him re-signing with WWE and going on to hopefully, doing things for Raw or SmackDown, being a champion. But at the same time, if I were Adam, if I were a wrestler and I was in Adam Cole's shoes, AEW is the place to be. It's the hottest place to be. If you want to get good, and luckily for AEW, we're in a pandemic. There's not much fans, so really it's just who can do better with storylines, performing this and that. It won't really. Once we get fans back, we'll really know what the better show is. And I don't know. I feel like All Elite Wrestling has so many big names that if they keep signing these WWE guys, that they're going to start getting the shaft and not really get noticed or enough time to be who they want to be. So I think Adam Cole should re-sign with the WWE because really there's nobody in WWE that's really amazing right now. I mean, you have a bunch.
I disagree with that.
Well, okay, so you have some of the guys that have been there for years, that are good. I think I think the potential to be really good and something special in WWE is really good right now compared to AEW because AEW has so many guys that are
Stacked right now.
yeah, AEW is stacked, and if they keep getting these wrestlers, I mean, they're gonna have to have another live show other than Dynamite. You know, I know they do. I know they do Dark, but
Dark. Well, they're talking
gonna-
about it.
they need like Dynamite is Raw. They need to have an actual SmackDown. And if they can do that, they can showcase more wrestlers, and then I can understand choosing AEW before WWE. But right now, I think he should resign with the WWE.
Okay. Well, I will
That
say
was a
quick.
long
I
thought.
don't. Maybe this could have been in the news and notes, but AEW did patent what appears to be another show name. For what, I
Okay.
don't know, but they have put in a patent for the name Elevation. One thing that has
Interesting.
been speculated about, which they were talking about, is that don't know if it will be online or another third thing, but what they were thinking of is possibly splitting up the focus of Dark, meaning that what they're wanting to do is they were thinking of having a show that's exclusively for the people that they're building in the Nightmare Factory. So it would almost be AEW's OG NXT.
Okay.
Or it'd be like New Japan running Young Lion shows, that they want to have something to showcase and
Sure.
give experience to these pet projects. But on top of it, they're saying that down the line, when we get back to normal, that Dark will go back to what it used to be of basically extra matches of equals rather than AEW star versus indie person that they're employing through the pandemic, and that these indie guys, the ones that they're interested in, will end up going to Elevation. So,
Gotcha.
I mean, it could be a way to
Well,
address.
we got more
that
questions,
and
so let's
kinda help
move
with the
on
blow,
to them.
but
We'll
still,
get them out of the way.
Yeah.
Next question is
Yes.
from Cameron. It says, any thoughts on Eric Young returning to TNA?
I wish he had the beard.
Yeah, I missed the beard.
Wish he had his beard and hair. I miss him in ODB. But
yeah.
I do like.
Um,
Well, ODB likes doing her food truck thing, so.
yeah, she does.
But
I didn't see it as a shock when he went back to TNA. I kind of, when he got released, that's the first place I thought he was gonna go, and it ended up happening. And I liked the program between him and Rich Swann a lot, so I guess I'm excited.
I was shocked he went right to the top like
Oh
that.
yeah, me too. I did not think he was gonna go right to the top and become champ right away, but he did. But his program with Rich Swann was awesome. The match was great. Rich Swann versus Eric Young was amazing.
And
I
like
guess
that guy
overall,
that
I
he's paired
don't
up with
know.
now, too.
Yeah, I'm not so big into that right now.
He's a big
just because
son of a bitch.
he looks doofy. He doesn't look
He
scary.
looks like a throwback kind of guy.
Yeah, I don't like it.
He looks like Stan Hansen.
What's his name? Dory or something?
Jake Doring or something like that. I know
Yeah,
he was
something
in.
weird.
Yeah.
He did wrestle. Apparently, he's from All Japan. He wrestled over there, so
Okay.
he has some at least hard hitting background.
And we have one more question from Brian that he asked me on Facebook. So I can't pull up the comment here. So the last question of the night, unless anyone else has any, is when Jimmy comes back. This is from Brian from earlier. When Jimmy comes back, will he join Roman and Jay, or will he try to get Jay free from Roman, maybe siding with Kevin Owens? I don't see any other option other than him. Oh, I guess maybe I could.
I don't think there's any possibility the Usos can be amazing singles wrestlers. I think they should just focus on being a tag team because that's what makes them awesome. That's my opinion on that.
The question is, will Jay help, or will Jimmy help Jay break free from Roman's tribal chief thing? Break free from that.
I think so, and he'll bring hopefully either Dwayne or Samoa with him to challenge Roman. I don't know.
That could be a very depending on how hot this sort of feud goes, that could very well be a sexy undercard, if at least for a pay-per-view or two they are divided. I mean, I know that they do this kind of stuff, but it'd be interesting if you had an undercard match. Either I wouldn't say Mania unless they're really telling an epic story, but I'd say a Royal Rumble or Elimination Chamber undercard match of Jimmy versus Jay could be something that's
awesome.
very intriguing.
Yeah, it would be.
That'd be really great.
I would love it to be in a Mania, but it would have to be a amazing epic story to justify that being an undercard match.
I guess we'll just have to see. This is one of those things where we have to see where it goes. And
I almost wonder if they were like, "Hey, Roman, here's the story we're gonna try, and until he gets healthy and comes back, you need to try your best to win over the audience and be what you were trying to make you to be. And if it doesn't work out, we're ending it when he gets back." That's what I hope. I mean, like I said, I've said before, I really don't like Roman at all. And even this head of the table gimmick for me isn't that good.
For me, it's the most captivating part of WWE
I like it.
that they have right now.
Yes.
Well, what do you mean? Have you not been paying attention to Randy and the Fiend? I mean, we haven't even talked about Randy and the Fiend. I mean,
that is true.
Randy
may have.
Like you can't sit there and say that. Yeah, you can't sit there and say that Bray Wyatt is not the heart and soul of everything awesome in the WWE right now.
Yeah, but Randy Orton is a black hole of milk and toast.
True, but at least
I actually do want to say, okay, I'm talking about in reality land. Orton versus Fiend is a completely different ball of wax. The fact that they're talking about doing some sort of insane gimmick match for Mania between Randy and the Fiend, I guess, is the plan. That makes me scared shitless as to what they're gonna do, because for every Firefly Funhouse you have the swamp fucking thing and you have the House of Horrors that him and Randy Orton did. So and you have the fucking maggots. So it doesn't mean it's going to necessarily be good. And there are some people who I've also seen that absolutely do not like Fiend segments nowadays. Basically,
really,
I've seen a lot of people that haven't liked it since Alexa Bliss joined it.
Yeah, it's really gone downhill for me.
Is kind of shit.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, it'd be nice if the WWE could come up with anybody, half as good of a character as Bray Wyatt's are, and that way they wouldn't have to lean on him so much, because it feels like they really, really are.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we are about an hour and 24 minutes in, so let's say goodnight tonight. We look forward to seeing you guys next Saturday at 8 p.m., same time as tonight, 8 p.m. Central Time. If you could follow us at TSSP Wrestling on Twitter. You can also follow my horror channel at YT Gorekeeper on Twitter, and check out my YouTube channel, Gorekeeper, which Tyler is also featured on.
Oh, yes.
Me and John do a podcast every once in a while called the Gorekeeper Horror Movie Podcast. Does anyone else want to sign off?
Let me pause it 1 minute, guys. Did you not forget one thing I said last week? I'll be wearing a special shirt every single episode.
Oh, I forgot. You just messaged me that too. I forgot. Yeah.
And this week, I am wearing my favorite wrestling shirt, and it is ultimately my favorite because I have 2 exact copies, and hopefully they do this
I just thought
soon.
you were gonna. Oh, okay.
Bullet Club, baby.
I was going to say, at first with that overshirt, I was going to say, are you wearing just fully flannel? But
No. Bullet Club, baby. I'm hoping we see something. I hope New Japan lets Kenny do Bullet Club, because it would be amazing.
Bullet Club has been just fine without Kenny in New Japan, I think.
That is true.
I've been loving everything Bullet Club's been doing. But yeah, let's sign off. Let's say our goodbyes. John, you want to
Alright.
plug your thing? Mr. T, you want to plug anything?
Nah, I already
yeah.
did my stuff at the beginning.
Thank you guys
Okay.
so much for tuning in. I am Mr. T. You can see me over at Mr. T's Comics and Collectibles. However, what you should be doing is following the Shooting Star Press, where every Saturday, 8 p.m., you will see us live talking about the most recent week of wrestling, primarily the All Elite Wrestling show. And with that being said, I'm Mr. T. To my left is Mr. Gorekeeper,
Okay.
and down below for the second week in a row, our special guest, and you'll probably see him again soon in the future, Mr. John. Thank you for showing up again. Remember, like, comment, subscribe, do what you got to do. We're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube.
Ding that bell.
Maybe soon Instagram. I'm not sure yet. But that's all I got, guys. Thank you for tuning in and watching, and we will see you in 1 week.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Sweet baby. Boom!